Alright, what's up everybody? It's Piscean X, back to talk about what's currently going on, right? But this is nothing new, right? War in America, this is nothing new. The war on what? The war on politics, the war on fucking our own humanity and independence as individuals, war on our biology, war on our chemistry, war on our DNA, war on AI, war on everything, right? I'm telling you guys now, and if you've seen my other videos and you're subscribed to this channel and you like and comment and share my videos around, first of all, I appreciate you. But secondly, in every one of my videos, I talk about astrology. In the last at least like 3 or 4 months, I've been honing in on this. And I've talked about this so many times. Like, anything that happens in history, you can see it astrologically speaking. The planets were either in some fucked up aspects with each other, or they were retrograde, they were combust, they were Cassini. All of these different things that were occurring, and this is since the beginning of human history, but people, y'all don't want to hear me. I mean, Jupiter is the preacher. I'm here to preach to you guys because what you're about to bear witness to in the next several years, it's not going to look the same as it did before, right? Your fun times in 2015 and on Musically and TikTok. Once we're in a war, I can guarantee you there's probably going to be some funny TikToks in World War III, Civil War. There's probably going to be some funny TikToks. But is it going to be funny when you're outside and you hear a nuclear bomb going off? Is it going to be funny when you think you fucking hear a missile? What are you going to do? Are you locked in? Are you ready? Because the time is now. In fact, the year is now, the day is now, the second is now, and if you're not locked in, I suggest you subscribe, share this video now, like, comment, get on board, learn astrology today, understand what's going to happen today, tomorrow, next year, because there's no time to be confused, all right? And here's the thing, most of you guys, you think you're confused, but you're not. You'll sit here and say you're dumb or you're stupid, you're retarded, but the reality is you have more knowledge than you allow yourself to have, and that's because you're scared of your own power. You are scared of your own power. You are scared to actually live in your power. You are scared to have dominance. You're scared to have respect. And that's what has to go. And I've been there right with you. So in this video, I want to talk about a planetary condition analysis for current Ukraine, Russia, and Israel-Iran tensions. Now, however I say it, Iran, listen, if you make fun of me for it, go fuck yourself. Honestly, that's where I'm at. So this advanced lecture applies the computational and methodological frameworks developed in our previous videos to analyze the current geopolitical crises in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. And we're drawing on the 2023 Bozo study methodology, multi-house system analysis, and retrograde density mapping. I talked about this in my other videos. So again, I have over 700 videos and I have them in playlists. I just made playlists for this channel. Everything is categorized. Check out my playlists. All the videos are there, all right? It's time to lock in. So we are going to examine the celestial configurations accompanying the February 28th, 2026 U.S.-Israeli strike on Iran and the ongoing Ukraine-Russia conflict. And our analysis integrates Vedic and Western frameworks, multiple house systems, and temporal pattern recognition to assess the planetary conditions driving these interrelated crises. Okay? So we talk about the celestial architecture of early 2026. What do we see? Well, first of all, what did we just go through? We had a Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Pisces from February 8th, in fact, through today. In fact, the dominant planetary configuration of this year is a close conjunction of Saturn and Neptune within 1 degree inside real Pisces. We're talking about Vedic astrology, folks. If you're only into Western astrology, your typical Cam White YouTuber, you might as well be a pop astrologer because you don't fucking care about any other culture but your own. So how dare you say that you're an astrologer when all you fucking talk about is Western astrology? You have no idea about Vedic astrology. But shout out to people like Talking Astrology with Archie Dunlop, British astrologer. He responded to me on YouTube. I'm a very big fan of his videos, so please subscribe to him. It's really funny. He's like, guys, don't get a consultation with me, but he's a really funny astrologer. So intensifying from February 8th through March 4th, right? This configuration represents the third and most potent meeting of these two slow-moving planets, creating what astrologers describe as a karmic pressure cooker for global conflicts. Why? Because Saturn represents structure, boundaries, political authority, and strategic calculation. What is Neptune? Well, it dissolves certainty, it erodes trust, it obscures motives, and it governs collective illusions. Neptune, the planet of dissolution and being completely out of it. That's why I was addicted to Benadryl. I'm a Pisces. I have a Pisces stellium in my entire natal chart. I was drugged out for a portion of my life on whether it's been testosterone, steroids, Benadryl, cannabis, alcohol. Neptune will do that to a person. So Pisces is a water sign associated with spirituality, dissolution, and boundary transcendence. All right. Again, Pisces is what? It's not just a water sign, but it's a mutable water sign, meaning two fishes that swim back and forth until they're dead. Right? Pisces is death. And it doesn't get talked about a lot, but Pisces is death. Pisces is the collective consciousness, and not only that, but it can die really young. Because Pisces has been here before, and it's done it a million times. From Aries all the way until it's Aquarius, Pisces has been it. It really doesn't find a reason to be super exalted with the sun, because Jupiter is just kind of, it gets lazy, it gets tired, it gets strained. And it wants to expand blessings and happiness, and the world isn't always like that. And that's why even Sun and Venus don't really work, because Sun in Libra is debilitated. Sun in Aquarius in its detriment, right? Sun in Gemini is the bipolar, manic, chaotic type of archetypal energy. But anyways, also it's the twins, so you never know what you're going to get. But anyways, when Saturn and Neptune conjoin, peace initiatives struggle to gain traction, not due to lack of effort, but because underlying mistrust, deception, and unresolved karmic patterns continue to undermine meaningful resolution. This dynamic manifests differently in the two conflicts under examination. Now, I'd like to speak on conflict Saturn-Neptune expression. So Ukraine and Russia, prolonged stalemate, negotiations appear viable but fail to produce stability. Deep mutual distrust prevents closure. Israel-Iran, persistence of violence, rooted in unresolved historical, religious, and ideological divisions. Temporary ceasefires fail to address deeper fractures. So the conjunction's placement in Pisces, Neptune's domicile strengthens the dissolving, boundary eroding qualities while challenging authoritarian structures worldwide. So as one analysis notes, Russian President Vladimir Putin, along with other authoritarian leaders around the world, including those in Iran, China, Venezuela, and North Korea, may begin to experience a gradual weakening of their grip on power, particularly under mounting pressures from war, economic strain, and internal unrest. So, yeah. Mars in Aquarius. So while Saturn-Neptune provides the background karmic field, Mars functions as the trigger mechanism, and on February 23rd, 2026, Mars entered Aquarius, immediately forming volatile configurations with multiple planets. So our critical Mars alignments, let's observe our configuration period significance with Mars conjunct Rahu, which is what? The north node of the moon, right? This happened February 23rd. It's occurring through March 5th. Sudden aggression, unconventional warfare, and geopolitical brawl. Mars square Uranus, February 26th through the 28th, experience conflicts and violence, major disruptions to land, territories. All right? Now, Mars approaching Saturn. It's March through April. This is the escalation toward more sustained strategic warfare. The Mars-Rahu conjunction in Aquarius is particularly significant, as astrologer Anil Agarwala explains. Once Mars joins Rahu in Aquarius after February 23rd through March 5th, 2026, the geopolitical brawl would take an ugly and aggressive turn. So this proved precisely accurate when the U.S.-Israeli strike on Iran occurred on February 28th, 2026. Literally right at the end of February. Currently live on Meet Me. We have Scooby Snacks in here. What's up? Not sure who else is still in here, but anyways, Mercury retrograde in Vedic astrology, it's in Aquarius. And it started February 26th through March 21st. So adding complexity to the configuration, Mercury turned retrograde sidereal Aquarius on February 26th, where it will remain until March 21st. This placement carries specific implications for the conflicts, communication breakdowns between negotiating parties, misinformation and propaganda intensifying, failed diplomatic initiatives or agreements that unravel quickly, aviation and travel disruptions affecting the region. Retrograde Mercury's position within the same Mars-Rahu conjunction zone creates what astrologers call a planetary war, Graha Yuddha, where Venus was defeated by retrograde Mercury in the attack chart, an indication of diplomatic solutions being overwhelmed by military action. So part 2 is the Israel-Iran conflict. And this is the attack chart analysis. Just kind of going over this step by step. Bear with me, guys. It's been a weird day. I got my period today, so I'm just all over the place, kind of stressed out about it. So, February 28th, 2026 strike. This is the moment analysis. So at 9:27 a.m. Iran time, Israel, with U.S. participation, launched military strikes on Iran. This moment provides a rich data set for astrological analysis using multiple house systems and computational methods. So Rashi chart, sidereal zodiac observations. We look at our component placement interpretation. So the Lagna is the ascendant, meaning the rising sign on the eastern horizon. So Aries, movable signs, war, action, speed, dynamic initiation. We have the Lagna Lord being Mars. In the 11th house in Aquarius, strategic alliances, group warfare. 7th Lord Venus in the 11th house, defeated in planetary war, enemies' diplomatic options overwhelmed. Rahu being the north node, in the 11th house with Mars, bringing intensified aggression and unconventional methods, as well as Moon being 10th from the 7th house opponent's battlefield. Iran will mount a strong fight. And we're already hearing a lot about Iran and Benjamin Netanyahu and nuclear warfare and technology and just the advancements with AI and how they're using it. And I talked about this in another video yesterday, how they're using like Sora AI. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. But this is the reality, folks. This is Pluto and Aquarius taking effect. And we have this transit until 2044, so you better lock the fuck in and get to learn astrology now. Now is the time. Now is the only time I know. And now is the only time you know. The eternal now. Sucks. But what are you going to do to change it? What are you going to do tomorrow to change it? To change your future? What are you going to do differently? So, the movable Aries Lagna combined with Mars as the strongest planet in the 11th house suggests approximately 11 days of intense initial warfare, with the conflict extending well beyond. We look at the multi-house system analysis, very important in astrology. Applying this computational framework from our previous video, we can examine how this attack chart manifests across different house systems. The house systems, Mars placement, 7th house cusp, war indicators. Placidus, 11th, 7th house Libra, it's open warfare, alliance-based conflict. Whole sign, it's 11th house Aquarius, 7th house Libra, consistent with Vedic interpretation. Regiomontanus, 11th, 12th cusp, 7th, possible covert dimensions, and Koch, 11th, 7th, alliance-focused interpretation. The consistency of Mars in the 11th house across systems strengthens confidence in interpretations, emphasizing coalition warfare and strategic partnerships. All right. Moving on to the D9 Navamsa insights. The Navamsa chart reveals deeper karmic patterns. So Leo Navamsa rising, royal dramatic confrontation. Ketu in the moon and Lagna is emotional combustion, karmic intensity, and Rahu and the sun in the 7th is ego clash between leaders in a power struggle. So this configuration suggests the conflict involves not merely territorial disputes, but fundamental clashes of identity and leadership legitimacy. Let's observe the Mars-Uranus square, predictive validation. So travel astrologer Natalia's February 27th warning gained viral attention when the strike occurred precisely within her forecast window. She literally stated Mars in Aquarius squares Uranus and Taurus on February 27th till March 2nd. It signifies conflict and violence and major disruptions to topics tied to land, territories, and collective unrest. And this prediction demonstrates the practical application of transit analysis for geopolitical forecasting. Natalia's focus on travel disruption rather than military details, I'm a travel astrologer, not a war general, illustrates the importance of matching astrological technique to predictive domain. In our critical turning points, we have March through May of this year. Multiple astrologers converge on key dates for the conflict's evolution. So date configuration and expected development. We look at March 3rd, which already occurred yesterday. We have the total lunar eclipse, the blood moon. This occurred in Virgo, which is a symbolic trigger, an escalation of or a major development. And we have March 11th, which hasn't occurred yet. Jupiter turns direct, possible diplomatic shifts or narrative change. March 13th through the 14th, Mars, Rahu, exact conjunction at 14 degrees Aquarius, peak aggression window. March 26th, we have further Mars movement shift or formalization of tensions. In April 2nd through May 12th, we have Mars joining Saturn in Pisces, more sustained strategic phase, boiling water effect. April 19th through the 20th, secondary Mars-Saturn intensity, another escalation spike. The April-May period is considered particularly dangerous, as Agarwala explains. Mars and Saturn conjunction with Mercury joins them at 14 degrees Pisces, and Veda from Ketu and fiery Leo creates a watery sign receiving fiery affliction, producing a boiling water effect. more sustained and strategic than the sudden Mars-Rahu ignition. Now we look at our nuclear considerations. The question of nuclear escalation inevitably arises, so ABP Live's analysis suggests astrological configurations point not necessarily to direct nuclear strikes, but to risks involving cyber sabotage of nuclear facilities or potential radiation-related incidents. This nuanced interpretation aligns with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction's tendency toward covert operations and obscured motives rather than open, catastrophic warfare. Now I want to touch on the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and not with the highlighter. This is our extended analysis and our foundational charts. Of course, we observe that Russia is June 12th, 1990, 1:45 Moscow, Declaration of Sovereignty. In Ukraine, we have August 24th, 1991, 18 o'clock, Kiev, Independence Declaration. So Ukraine's chart shows Sagittarius Lagna, meaning what? The ascendant. With Rahu in the first house and Ketu in the seventh. Okay? A configuration indicating foreign aggression, Rahu on the ascendant, and conflict with others, Ketu in the seventh house. The seventh house of war is thus highlighted from the foundation. So we already know now our Rahu, Ketu axes, also known as our nodes, or our lunar. Now, to be more specific, it's the first and seventh house axes. Now we observe Vimshottari Dasha analysis. So Vedic astrologer Sachin Mohatra provides precise Dasha timing. Look at the period Dasha under Dasha interpretation. So December 1st, 2024 through April 2nd, 2026, Jupiter Moon, most dangerous phase, more pain to Ukraine's general public. In late 2026 through early 2027, Jupiter Mars possible peace agreement window. So we look at that as like quarter 3 through quarter 4 of 2026 through quarter 1 through quarter 2 of 2027. In the moon, as Antardasha Lord takes lordship of the seventh house of war and is afflicted in the Lagna along with Saturn, a configuration suggesting the current period's intensity. Only in Mars, Antardasha, Mars as the 11th Lord, placed in the 9th house of foreign treaty, can we expect Ukraine to reach a peace agreement. Saturn-Neptune in the Eastern Front. Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Pisces from February 8th through March 4th affects Ukraine-Russia dynamics differently than the Middle East. As one analysis notes, in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the Saturn-Neptune dynamic suggests continued stalemate and escalation rather than closure. Negotiations are likely to remain fragile, with Ukraine deeply cautious of Russia's intentions due to prior violations and shifting narratives. This astrological configuration aligns with geopolitical analysis, suggesting the war will not end in 2026. As Dmitry Trenin writes, a peace agreement on Ukraine that would satisfy Russia is unlikely in 2026. Fighting will likely persist throughout 2026. So Rahu Ketu axes and conflict evolution, the nodes being Rahu and Ketu, play crucial roles in both conflicts. So for Ukraine, Rahu's on the ascendant, bringing foreign aggression, sudden crises. The transit of Rahu through various nakshatras creates windows of intensity. We look at the period and nakshatra significance. May through August of 2026, we have Mega and Sabitsa, Rahu Ketu on nakshatras, and sudden pressure from powerful forces, strategic confusion, forced negotiations. Okay? In December 2026, we have Rahu in Capricorn, economic stress, international power imbalance. And retrograde density analysis. Applying the retrograde density mapping methodology from our first video on this to the Ukraine conflict, We look at our period retrograde planets and the density significance. So February 2026, Mercury, Jupiter, until March 11th, outer planets, moderate communication breakdowns, delayed diplomacy. March through April, with Mercury until March 21st, moderate continued negotiation difficulties. And post-April 2026, we have outer planets, only low potential for more direct action. The current retrograde Mercury in Aquarius until March 21st is particularly significant for Ukraine as it affects academics, intellectuals, journalists, professionals working in communications, including internet and AI-related fields, and those employed in airline and aviation industries, all sectors relevant to modern warfare. For comparative analysis, two conflicts, one celestial field, shared configurations, different expressions. So both conflicts operate within the same planetary field but manifest differently due to their distinct foundational charts. Of course, we look at our celestial factor. So Ukraine-Russia expression, Israel-Iran expression. Saturn-Neptune conjunction, stalemate, frozen conflict, mutual distrust, religious ideological persistence, humanitarian crises. Mars, Rahu, and Aquarius, potential for escalation and unconventional warfare, direct trigger for open conflict. Mercury retrograde, failed negotiations, propaganda communication breakdown, aviation disruption. March 3rd, lunar eclipse, potential diplomatic shift, symbolic intensification. So the pressure cooker windows, February through April, all right? Multiple astrologers identify this period as critical months in advance. Anil Agarwala's pressure cooker window concept, February to April 2026, is proven prescient for the Middle East and remains relevant for Ukraine. The window's characteristics include sudden ignition, Mars-Rahu trigger, peak intensity, mid-March, transition to sustained conflict, Mars-Saturn in April or May, potential relief only after June, Jupiter in Cancer from June 2nd, 2026. All right. Now the blood moon factor, we had this occurring, but we still have it, like the later stages of it lingering. So the total lunar eclipse occurring yesterday, March 3rd, during both conflicts has generated significant astrological and popular attention. While some link it to doomsday prophecies, more nuanced interpretations see it as a symbolic intensifier. So ABP Live's analysis notes that this eclipse is said to fall along the Leo-Aquarius axis, symbolically linked with sovereignty, power structures, and mass movements. Astrologers suggest that leadership challenges or internal instability could surface in certain regions during this period. For Iran, already experiencing internal tension, this could manifest as a succession struggle around the supreme leader intensifying. For Ukraine, leadership questions surrounding President Zelensky's position may surface. Now we look at computational methodology being applied, how we can follow a framework. It looks a little bit confusing, but we apply computational methods to verify house placements across systems. It's just, you can look at it if you want. I guess we don't really have to go over it. So what we'll go off with. The limits of prediction is like, as Dimitri Trenin notes, experience shows that making predictions even a year ahead is risky. Events that later seem obvious can be invisible in advance. Astrological analysis provides not certainty but probability assessment, identifying windows of heightened potential while acknowledging that human agency and contingent factors shape outcomes. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction's essence is uncertainty itself. As one analysis observes, Saturn represents structure, boundaries, and political authority, while Neptune dissolves certainty, erodes trust, and obscures motives. To predict with false precision would violate the very nature of this configuration. Now for Ukraine, the Dasha shift to Mars under Dasha in late 2026 offers the first realistic window for peace negotiations, though Saturn-Neptune's influence suggests any agreement will face profound trust issues. The computational and methodological frameworks developed in our lecture series here, retrograde density mapping, multi-house system analysis, historical database correlation. We provide tools for navigating these uncertain times. As always in mundane astrology, the goal is not fatalistic prediction, but informed awareness, understanding the celestial weather so that we may navigate it with wisdom, whether as astrologers, citizens, or simply as human beings, witnessing history unfold. With peace and love, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one, teaching you more advanced astrology. Piscean out.